Hey, what's up everybody? Duty here with another VR accessibility overview for you. And this one is for a game that is releasing today, September 29th, if you're watching this when this video goes up, called System Critical 2. If you have been around the channel, or maybe you just saw it somewhere, I had done an accessibility overview for the first game, which was System Critical: A Race Against Time. So this is the sequel to that. Things are a little bit different than they were with that game in the terms of accessibility, settings, and all that kind of stuff. But before we hop into it, I also want to extend another thank you to the devs for a key to this game ahead of release to be able to do this video and any other gameplay type video. But let's be honest, I'm not that great at this game, but I can at least let you know how accessible it is. So yeah, you will be seeing somewhere around me some not fantastic gameplay, but hey, it's happening. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright, first thing is first. There's no menu. I'm gonna get that right out of the way. There is no like start menu, no settings menu, no options, set, whatever you want to call it. It's not there. So how do you know the accessibility, like what is even in the game? Well, the game, when you first boot it up, you'll have two options: new game or continue. Obviously, if you've never played it before, you would hit new game. You hit new game, it automatically puts you into a tutorial, which is good. That's a good thing in my opinion, that they're putting you in a tutorial right off the bat to try and teach you things. In here, they teach you the game mechanics, but they also teach you the clicking in the right analog stick, which is typically the one to turn in most VR games. Clicking that in will put you from snap turning to smooth turning, or vice versa if you click it again. By default, you start out on snap turning. You can, of course, switch it, click it in once, boom, you're at smooth turning. You will have to do this every time you start up the game, but it's no biggie. Quick click, and there you go. And then on the left stick, which is typically the move stick in most VR games, clicking that in, you'll go from kind of a slower, not crazy fast movement speed to a full-on sprint, which is a lot faster. And then clicking it again, you go back to the regular. There is only smooth movement or continuous movement, or whatever you want to call it, because a lot of games call both the movement and the turning multiple different things. There is no teleportation movement. I don't believe there was in the first game either, if I remember correctly. I don't really know how well the game would work if there was teleportation movement. I'm actually trying to think about that. I'm not quite sure. So that's not in the game. If you need teleportation movement, you might have to pass on this game. So yeah, you have snap turning, you have smooth turning. That's all. Just a quick stick click and all that stuff. Now, one thing that will pop up and in the gameplay at some point, I don't usually edit the gameplay part. I just kind of put it in raw for these videos. There will be a point where all of a sudden my height will change. I'll go down, either I'll go up or I'll go down. this game, there is, and I'm sure, you know, hey, we'll get to a feedback portion. I usually try to in these, but there is no seated mode by default. I'm not saying that you cannot play this game seated. You totally can. I can't walk, so I kind of have to. This chair that I'm sitting in, actually. So you can totally play the game seated. The only issue with that, and maybe it's because my chair is a bit lower than most chairs probably are, but the weapons, because you have two. You have like a regular gun blaster, and then you have the one from the first game. It's kind of like, almost looks like a Mega Man blaster. It's not, but it looks like it, you know, kind of like one. You have both those. They're typically on a holster. If you play seated, at least for me, they're essentially on your torso instead of where they probably should be for a holster. Now, I don't want to say that that is a bad thing, because there are times when a game will keep them on your hip, on your virtual hips, and if you're playing seated, that'll sometimes put it to a point where if you're sitting in a chair that has armrests, it's going to put it, you know, it's going to put your controller possibly out of a range to where it detects, like, gives a little feedback to, oh, like the weapon's there. And if you are in a wheelchair, which sometimes I usually sit in mine to play, you have a full side thing on there that's going to make that even more of a difficult thing to do. So it kind of being where it is, while goofy, and if you can't fully look down, you're just not going to see it. You're not going to see either of the weapons. It's not entirely a bad thing. That they are where they are if you have to play seated. Now, if you are on the Quest, and I forgot to say, this is out on the 29th, today. If you're seeing this video when it goes up, I forgot to say it's on PC and on App Lab. So PC for Steam, it's on Steam for PC VR, and it's on App Lab for I believe Quest 2 and Quest Pro. Let me look really quick. Yes. I just had to look on the app on my phone, but yes, it is for the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro, and I'm sure it'll maybe be compatible with the Quest 3 when that releases, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but I should have said that at the beginning. I'll try and put some text or something at the beginning as well. But the Quest 2 system, in the settings, excuse me, there is a height adjust. I think that's what it's called. I always get the name messed up. If you turn that on, it's in the accessibility section of the Quest 2 settings, under mobility. Go and flip that on, and your height will go up to a standing height. Virtually standing. There's still issues with this, but don't, we'll maybe get into that. Still issues with this setting, but it does the job. And if you do that, you'll be standing in the game. You won't have to like reach up onto stuff to grab like the little square things for like health or armor. be at a regular standing height to be able to get those. The issue with this, because the setting itself is on the Quest 2 and not in the game, the holster does not change height with this. So what I have noticed is that if you use it, if you have to play seated and you use this setting to make yourself, up to a normal height in the game, the holsters for the weapons are they're gonna be under you with this point. I have to fully reach under my chair to grab and kind of scoot forward a bit to put them in reach, to put either the regular pistol blaster or to put the other blaster within my reach. I have to not only lean forward, but reach all the way under my chair. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. It's definitely a bummer. And then for people that can't do that, it's 100% a bummer. I don't know how easy that would. I'm not a game dev, so I don't know these things. But if it were possible to put in a seated option in the game, because I think that would, or just something that you could adjust where the holsters are at, even just that, because then people could use the adjust height setting or height adjust on the Quest, but then still be able to adjust the holsters back to where it's comfortable for them. That would also work. Or put a seated height or seated mode in the game that automatically adjusts the holsters as well as your height to make it to where people can still easily get to them even if they're playing seated. Because not everybody's going to be able to reach under their chair to be able to get it. That's my one real gripe about that. Now with the weapons, you go up to them and you press the grab trigger, so it's the less protruding one. I don't have my controllers next to me right now, but the one that your middle finger is typically on, and you hold it, and if you're still close enough to the holster and you let go of it, the weapon will go back to the holster. You have to hold it, and it seems like stretch your arm out far enough to where you can let go of the grip at that point and it'll stay in your hand. Maybe dial that back a little bit. Maybe just a bit. Because I know at least, and I'm not the only one. I never think I'm the only one on this, because that's stupid to think I'm the only one. But my right arm, for instance, grabbing, because you can dual wield, grabbing the regular arm blaster with my right hand is already tricky enough. If you don't know what I mean, say hi to my right hand. Yay! But yeah, grabbing that is already difficult enough sometimes. But then my finger will sometimes not entirely have the grip trigger all the way down. And so to not be able to move my arm enough away, and then it just automatically puts it back, and then I have to try and grab it again, If it's a situation where I'm being shot at by multiple enemies and I want to try and duel and take them out, that's a difficult thing. So if that is something that is also difficult for you, please keep that in mind, because you do have to have your arm a considerable amount away before you can let go of the grip to keep the weapon in your hand. Also, let's say you can't quickly press the trigger to shoot. If you can't rapidly press it, might also be some problems. But I also have some problems. I can't do that too well with my right hand either, mainly my left. There is no, like, you can't hold it down. You can't just hold it down to shoot. With the full arm blaster, holding it down charges it to let out like a really powerful blast. So you do have to rapid fire, like rapidly hit the trigger to be able to shoot with that one. But there is no auto fire at all with the regular blaster, the little pistol. So that is something you're gonna have to worry about. I'm trying to think of everything else. There are melee weapons and things in the game. Those, you don't have to use them. You basically always have your pistols or your blasters and stuff like that. By beating various stages, every stage has like a shape above it. If you beat the ones with the same shape, then you unlock new things. You'll unlock new blasters and new other new stuff. So I haven't been able to unlock all that stuff. Like I said, I'm not that great, and I haven't been able to play as much as I would like to. But yeah, it's still a fun game, but a lot of things I would say to be wary of if there are things that affect you. Obviously, it's not going to affect everybody. Not everybody is going to need the same things. Like some of the stuff that may make it easier for me, some of you may not need, and vice versa. Some of the things that you may need, I may not need. But I try to mention everything. Oh yeah, and one other, this isn't really an accessibility setting thing per se, but I think with VR games, just VR in a nutshell, it's probably easy to just know this. But if you are susceptible to photosensitivity stuff, probably just don't play VR. Because there's a lot of that. I am trying to mention that more in my videos. In all the overviews I do. Whether it's a VR game, a non-VR game, I want to mention that more. But yeah, I think that's everything, really. So snap turning and smooth turning, just a quick click and you can change that. No teleportation movement, smooth movement only. You could totally play it seated, but you're gonna be short. Your holsters are gonna be on your stomach. I'm just trying to recap everything again so that I can remember. Yeah, use the height adjust setting on the Quest 2, and I would assume it's also on the Quest Pro. I don't have a Quest Pro, so I don't know. But yeah, use height adjust to put yourself at a normal height, but it will put your holsters under the chair if you're sitting. So be warned about that. Oh, one last thing I did forget. Let's say you're like me and you're a lefty. Somebody that plays left-handed. And again, this game at least right now, does not have a settings menu. Hell, once you're in a level, you can't even exit the level unless you beat it or close the game and reopen it. So, again, little thing, not the having to leave the game and open it again to get into a different level. Not an accessibility thing, but still something worth mentioning. It's kind of weird. But if you are on the Quest and you're a lefty, I don't know what update this got put onto the Quest 2, and I'm assuming the Quest Pro in. I don't know what update. But I just noticed it when I got on to get the gameplay footage of System Critical 2, that there is a setting to change the analog sticks, and I decided to test it with this game. It works the exact way you would think. It changes the right stick to movement, the left stick to turning, but it also changes the click functions. So if you change that, clicking the left stick in will put you from snap to smooth turning and vice versa. And the right stick will do sprinting or normal speed. So yeah, if you play Southpaw or left-handed and you need that is something that makes the games more comfortable, if not even just playable for you. That is in the Quest 2 accessibility settings, again under mobility. So if that is something you need, activate that as well as the height adjust if you're playing seated. But heck, if you just want the Southpaw controls and you don't even have to play seated, there you go. They're in the settings on the Quest 2. Now, if you are on PC, you will have things like OVR advanced settings, and you will have things like walk-in VR and stuff like that to help you out with various things. It's not going to be able to cover every single thing that you may or may not need for accessibility, and certain things just don't really help for certain VR games. I don't know a whole lot aside from making it so you can stand and pick up, or go up to a standing height and pick up things and all that. I don't really know how much those are gonna add aside from those settings. But if you are on PC and you pick up this game for PC VR, those are the things that you can use to change your height and all that stuff. If you do use them and you've never used them before and you want to know how to set them all up, I always talk about DewdyDoes.com, which is where you can go to find quick access not only to this overview, but as the physical typed out notes for this game. And you'll be able to click or tap on the name of the game to go to the App Lab page, because that one is usually harder to get to. But App Lab link and the Steam link will be in the description of this video. So, and I might make him a pinned comment. But yeah, I don't know if there is anything else to go over. This video is running pretty long as it is. But yeah, hopefully this helps you. If not, or if it does, that's awesome. That's why I do these videos. Or if maybe you didn't want to play this game, but you know somebody who is thinking about playing this game, give them this video or show them to DewdyDoes.com. Link is always in the description, where I think I'm almost, if not at, 100 VR games that I have given notes for. I think 40 or 50 that I've done video overviews for. And I've also have setup tutorials for things like walk-in VR and the height offset and the toggle for OVR advanced settings and all of that stuff to try and help as much as I can. I still may miss things, but I try and help. So, yes, everything is always in the description. And hopefully you are having a lovely day or night whenever you may be watching this. And I will see you in the next one. All right. Bye.